Today, Americans honor those who served our country. We spoke with some of those veterans who are students right here at USC.
Dating apps have become a go-to activity for college students during the pandemic, but now safe sex takes on a whole new meaning.
And this week in cinema, we look at a USC film student's film about a girls' night out and the complications that went into creating an entire film from home. Annenberg TV News is next.
Live from USC, you're watching Annenberg TV News.
Veterans Day is looking a little different this year, with smaller crowds and virtual celebrations. I'm Olivia Novato, reporting from Los Angeles.
And I'm Evan Falstrup, also reporting from Los Angeles. USC veterans share what this day means to them and how they're celebrating from home.
I'm just spending time with my family, sporting my pride for the Army and spending time with this one. And, just enjoying the day. I think a lot of people on social media have, shared that that they thank me for my service. And it's always been really, really nice to see.
Just over 1,000 veterans and their dependents are enrolled at USC. That's for both grad and undergrad. If eligible for the federal Yellow Ribbon program, the VA and USC will pay 100% of tuition and mandatory fees for undergraduate students. Graduate students could receive up to $20,000 a year. USC has a national reputation for supporting veterans, but one USC student veteran wants the school to do more.
Some people don't have that ability to advocate for themselves and really stand and speak up for themselves. And I don't know, I want to try to do what I can for those people, because not everybody's good at networking. Not everybody has the people skills. Not everybody knows how to articulate their thoughts and their concerns.
For more than a century, USC has welcomed the military and veterans. The campus was even a training ground during the two world wars. US News and World Report lists USC as a top 5 school for veterans.
A new UCLA study shows masks effectively reduce the spread of COVID-19. Researchers found wearing a cloth mask reduced the spread of respiratory droplets by as much as 77%, and the combination of a mask and a face shield lowers the risk of spreading the virus by up to 89%. The lead researcher says the study results send a clear message.
And it's a simple thing that the public can do, not just protect themselves, but protect the community, protect their loved ones, protect people around them. Overall, I think we can do it, but everybody needs to do their part. And together, we can stop or slow down the spread of COVID-19. And our data show it will help. So hopefully with that, we'll encourage more people to start to wear masks.
COVID-19 cases are on the rise, but that's not keeping college students from dating. 2 college students explained how a dating app is the only way to meet people during this stressful time.
Tested recently, I'll tell them if I've been tested recently, try to make sure that both of us aren't about to, walk into a situation where we give one or the other COVID.
I feel like there's still kind of like a stigma about like meeting people via dating apps. So maybe that's like partially why it doesn't feel 100% normal. But I mean, there isn't really like another like safe way technically to like meet somebody.
Dating app usage has increased during the COVID-19 pandemic as people seek social interaction during physical distancing. Data from Match Group, which includes Tinder and Hinge, showed an 11% increase in usage for U.S. adults this year. Most of the revenue comes from younger users and women who subscribe to these services and pay for premium features. Even though California is nearing 1 million confirmed COVID cases, college students likely won't stop swiping.
USC administrators have rejected a call for extending the Pass No Pass deadline. Unlike last semester, students will not be able to change their grading option after seeing their final grade. The creator of the petition that had more than 5,700 signatures is disappointed.
Extending the deadline would just make sense for a lot of people. So in my opinion, it seems like now there's going to be a lot of students who are just not going to care about the final in their class if they're taking something pass no pass. So it kind of encourages people not to try during those last couple of weeks. So overall disappointed.
I'm Samantha Moskow reporting from Los Angeles with your political scoop. Today, the USC Annenberg Center on Communication, Leadership, and Policy teamed up with Dornsife Center for the Political Future and the Gould School of Law to discuss where the country stands now that Joe Biden is president-elect.
That transition period gives a chance for the new president to be briefed on subjects, to be up to date, to bring in a cabinet that's going to be up to date, to fill in all the sub-cabinet officers with people up to date. And that's going to be harder now. Biden, in my view, is a little different from somebody else coming into the presidency because having been vice president for 8 years, up until 4 years ago, being surrounded by all kinds of people with a lot of experience, I think he knows a lot more and is much more prepared to be president than he might otherwise be.
Trump will want to exacerbate the divide, assuming that he's forced to leave office on January 20th. I think he will be a constant presence. I don't know whether it will be on Fox News or he'll start his own network or he'll affiliate with somebody else. I think he'll be holding rallies. So I think that we are in for a very fraught period, not just between now and inaugural day, but after inaugural day.
An important date coming up is the Safe Harbor deadline on December 8th. That's the day that each state's electoral college must announce its vote.
There's a new push to turn the LA Convention Center into a temporary homeless shelter as winter approaches and temperatures drop. The CEO of the Union Rescue Mission reacted to the proposal.
So there are more people on the streets than there have ever been, and there are more people dying on the streets than there have ever been. It's certainly not enough because there are 50,000 people on the streets of Los Angeles County, and the convention center can hold many, but it can't hold 50,000. So it's a first great step in strategy, and we also need to be thinking about what other buildings could be utilized.
LA Mayor Eric Garcetti supports looking into the feasibility of using the convention center as a shelter, but would like all city shelters at capacity before that happens.
The USC Kaufman School of Dance is wrapping up its first ever virtual festival this week, called Apart to Gather. The pre-recorded and edited presentation highlights student work over the course of the semester. 2 students spoke about the challenges of performing and filming online.
Filming dance comes with a lot of positives and a lot of negatives. There's a lot, I think filming takes a long time to find the video that you want, but once you have it, I think it's really nice because once you have a video, it's there and you could always look back on it. You could always use it for future things, future dance reels, resumes, things like that.
Like the rawness sometimes, if everyone's trying to fix, you look back at your video and you're trying to fix everything you did wrong, in my opinion, can take away from like the authentic movement qualities that you had before.
The festival concludes Friday. The dancers are hoping next semester they will no longer be apart, but together and performing live before an audience.
Surfers and swimmers weren't the only ones enjoying California's shores this summer. I'm Savannah Welch here at Cal State University Long Beach, home to CSU's Shark Lab. The lab tagged a record-breaking number of sharks this year, and researchers are diving deep to learn more about what's causing this surge in shark activity. The Cal State University Long Beach Shark Lab tagged 38 juvenile white sharks as of mid-October. This is 3 times the number of sharks tagged in 2019.
The questions we need to answer are, why are the sharks there? What are they doing while they're there? Can we predict where they'll show up next? And what is the potential risk to people?
Chris Lowe is the director of the Shark Lab and a professor of marine biology at Cal State University Long Beach. Patrick Rex is a graduate student who uses aerial footage from drones to spot juvenile white sharks in the ocean.
I went out on Sunday and saw 13 different individual sharks, which is outrageous.
Rex spends most of his time studying the interactions between white sharks and people. Contrary to popular and very scary films like Jaws, Rex's research shows sharks really don't care much about humans.
There's a lot of ocean to look through, and I'm finding a moving needle in a very large haystack.
Jack May is a graduate student at the Shark Lab and a fellow at USC Wrigley Institute for Environmental Studies. May looks into leopard shark activity off Catalina Island and also helps Rex tag sharks.
we've been able to keep the Juvenile White Shark Project going during COVID. So we were basically essential and could kind of keep working when a lot of other labs have been shut down. So that was very, very fortunate for us to be able to continue our research and keep working.
Rex says the lab has seen an increase in sharks over the last 5 years. Sharks typically migrate down to Mexico in the winter. Better technology and better food could explain the increase in the numbers, but climate change could also be a factor.
Our ocean now is not what it was even 5 years ago. So starting in 2015, we started getting more sharks along our shores.
For the Shark Lab, it's all about keeping people and sharks safe.
Because we're operating so close to the beach, public beach, it was important that we work with the lifeguards to ensure what we were doing was safe.
New technology and new research is giving the Shark Lab further insight into one of the ocean's most iconic and feared sea animals. With the increase in shark numbers and shift in migration, it looks like shark sightings will become more frequent on California's coasts. Savannah Welch, Annenberg Media.
I'm Maddie Gannon reporting from Los Angeles. USC women's basketball signed 2 Naismith High School Player of the Year candidates today. The women of Troy now have the number 7th ranked recruiting class in the nation, according to ESPN. Both Los Angeles natives, Clarice Uche Okonwafu is ESPN's number 2 ranked center, and Rhea Marshall ranks number 27 overall. Both women said they are excited to play college basketball in their hometowns. At Rolling Hills Prep, Okonwafu averaged 20.1 points and 12.7 rebounds per game. Marshall contributed 18.1 points and 10.5 rebounds per game at Linwood High. On the men's side, the NBA draft is a week away, and USC's Onyeka Okongwu is projected to go in the first round. Last season, the 6'9 center from Chino Hills started in all 28 games with the Trojans as a freshman. He averaged 16.2 points, 8.6 rebounds, and 2.7 blocks per game. In ESPN's mock draft, Okongwu is at number 5 overall, and CBS Sports has him at number 9. Now let's go to Nevaeh for an update on football.
Thanks, Maddie. USC's defense struggled in Week 1 against ASU. Defensive coordinator Todd Orlando said the linebackers must do a better job of limiting yards.
We got to get better. You know, I have no problems with saying that because I coach the position. Got to do a better job of getting those guys to play faster and more physical and more violent.
Improvements are needed across defensive positions. SC defensive lineman Marlon Tipolotu said the pass rush has improved, but the line still has more work to do.
We got to do a better job at stopping the run, and that's what we've been working on this week, preparing for Arizona.
USC will look to show off an improved defense when they play Arizona this Saturday. That wraps it up for sports. Now back to news.
In tonight's cinema segment, highlighting Trojans doing remarkable things in film, we talked with Ellery Marshall about her film, Calling for Backup. A girl named Sky just had a terrible breakup, so her friends try to cheer her up by hiring a stripper. They're surprised to find out the stripper's female, but that wasn't the only surprise.
More. Oh, okay. Yeah. Keep going. More. Yeah. All right, ladies, slow down.
The day before the shoot, 2 male actors were exposed to COVID-19, so Ellery rewrote the script, recruited her female roommates, and shot this film just 1 week later. Today I'm joined by Ellery Marshall, a junior majoring in film. Thank you for joining me.
So good to be here. I'm glad I'm getting to talk to you.
So tell me about your new film.
The first weekend of the shoot, we had to totally scrap, and we had to figure out what are we going to do next weekend. Like, my actors might have COVID, and so I wrote a whole new script in like a couple days with the 4 girls that were left, and we ended up going with that one, even though thankfully they didn't get COVID. That was good, but yeah, it was a pretty crazy start, I'd say. Only so much you can do in the pandemic, and you have to sort of accept the challenges and then push ahead. And I think part of it is also saying, you know, it might fail, but it's worth making and seeing if it's going to be a success.
So did you get a chance to actually watch the film?
I did. It's actually really, really good and funny. What Ellery kind of said was, you know, even though we're in a pandemic, if she can put out 5 films this semester, short films, and one of them turns out to be up to par with her normal films, then she did a good job.
Definitely. That wraps it up for us on this last Wednesday of the semester. Thanks for tuning in.
From all of us at Annenberg TV News, have a good night.